Hey guys, Jake Boley with BarBend.com. Today we're joined with Andre Cruz from 150 Bay CrossFit. We just concluded one of the toughest CrossFit Opens we've seen to date, and we're going to break down how to improve for next year and some tips on doing so. So my first question is this: for those athletes that compete in the scaled edition, what were some of the weaknesses you saw from this year's Open that they can kind of improve on to kind of move out of that scaled to the RX and actually being a little bit more competitive in the RX?
So for athletes this year who did the Open scaled, I think one of the biggest things you need to work on is your overall strength, right? The main difference between the scaled workouts and the RX workouts generally is in a 20, 30, or 50-pound increment in weight. So for example, the scaled folks were maybe doing a 65-pound thruster, whereas the RX folks were doing a 95-pound thruster. For all of you that were scaled, mainly, we just need to get stronger. So the basic way that you can do that is start a nice linear strength program on squat, deadlift, bench press, and overhead press. You don't have to do anything super crazy. You can find a very, very basic program. 5-3-1 is a great simple one that you can follow and do at your CrossFit box or at your home gym.
Okay, so now for the athletes who competed RX'd, but didn't place the way they wanted to. What were some weaknesses you saw throughout the Open, each workout, that they could improve on to improve their placing for next year?
And for the next group of folks are people who did the Open RX, but maybe struggled a little bit. I found a lot of my members here at 150 Bay CrossFit on 18.3, for example, they were able to get through the double unders, they were able to get through the overhead squats, but then a lot of them just looked up at those rings, just hoping for the best to happen on those muscle ups. For most folks in that division, we really need to tighten up our gymnastic skills. So for this, you just once again get into some strict gymnastic strength. So that can be tempo ring dips, tempo ring rows, tempo pull-ups, but you have to build that foundational gymnastic strength so that it can translate to you doing things like muscle ups and handstand push-ups in the Open.
Okay, so lastly, we talked about the scaled, we talked about this RX, but not so competitive. Now for the relatively competitive athletes. These are the athletes who competed RX, were competitive at a local level, but they want to take their game to the next, possibly regional level. What could they do to improve their game?
And the final category is folks who are in the RX division who are relatively competitive but want to maybe take their fitness to the next level. I actually kind of fall in that category myself. So I think as of this morning, I'm somewhere in like the 270 range in the Northeast region. I'm relatively good at all of the high skill movements. I'm relatively strong, but the difference between myself and someone like a Jay Adams or Matt Frazier is my conditioning, right? And for folks like me, we have to do the non-fun part of CrossFit, which is just conditioning. Myself, I've actually started writing a program where I'm going to be doing a couple of different conditioning pieces every day in addition to the normal workouts that I might be doing. So it's not fun, it's not sexy, but it's sitting on an Airdyne and just going as hard as you can go for 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to the track and doing 400-meter repeats. It's hopping on the rowing machine and doing Tabata intervals. But the idea is we need to build our overall aerobic capacity so that when we come into those high-intensity CrossFit workouts, we can go and go and go without getting tired.
With all that being said, a big congrats to everybody who competed in this year's Open, no matter your division, and a big thank you to Andre Cruz from 150 Bay CrossFit. Until next time, we'll see you at the next Coach's Corner.